Good evening, viewers, and welcome to this edition of NTV Sports Page. It's Friday, the 6th of November, and I'm Curtis Morton. In our headlines, Marlon Samuels retires, and in our feature for this evening, we speak to the president of the Nevis Cricket Association as he reviews the first round of matches in the ongoing T20 League. We'll take this break, and I'll be right back.
As a responsible taxpayer, you help to build and maintain sporting facilities for recreational activities throughout the island. Thank you for putting country above self. This message was brought to you by the Inland Revenue Department, Nevis.
Be a responsible citizen.
Well, I'm back and we start with cricket. Marlon Samuels, the West Indies batsman who top scored in both of their World T20 final victories, has retired from professional cricket. Johnny Grave, the Cricket West Indies chief executive, confirmed to ESPN Cricinfo that Samuels had told CWI of his retirement in June, having last played in December 2018. While Samuels' career ends with an underwhelming batting average, he was always a man for the big occasion, as he proved in both of the West Indies World T20 wins. Perhaps his finest innings came in the 2012 final in Colombo, when he saw off and then took down two of the format's Premier Limited Overs bowlers at the time, in Ajantha Mendes and Lassit Malinga respectively. Samuels was on 20 from 32 balls after 10 overs of the West Indies innings, with the team score just 32 for 2, before launching a stunning assault on Malinga to finish on 78 from 56 balls. He then took 1 for 15 to seal a comfortable win. 4 years later, he became the only man to be the player of the match in 2 ICC Global Finals, hitting 85 not out from 66 balls to stay West Indies to a 4-wicket win against England. His best batting performances were not limited to the shortest format. He scored a maiden Test 100 at Eden Gardens as a 21-year-old and had a dominant period against the Red Ball, which saw him top score in a series defeat in England in 2012, as well as making 260, his highest Test score, in Bangladesh later that year. In one-day cricket, he still holds the record for the highest partnership for any wicket, 372, with Chris Gayle against Zimbabwe in the 2015 World Cup. We'll take this break and I'll be back with our feature for this evening.
Disability don't pick out, anybody can get about, so they don't deserve no knockout. Hey, help your fellow man. Just one fall or an accident could put you out real permanent, so be compassionate and decent. Hey, help your fellow man. Disability, not inability. Anybody could get disability. Take the disordered disability. Hey, help your fellow man. Old and young could get disability. Rich and poor could get disability. You and me could get disability. Hey, help your fellow man. This message is brought to you through the kind sponsorship of the St. Kitts and Nevis National Commission for UNESCO, the Ministry of Community Development, and the National Association of Persons with Disabilities.
Well, I'm back, and tonight we feature an exclusive interview with President of the Nevis Cricket Association, Carlisle Powell, as he reviews the first round of matches in the ongoing T20 tournament. Always a privilege to be chatting with the President of the Nevis Cricket Association, Carlisle Powell. Recently, we had the start of the much-anticipated T20 tournament hosted by the local Nevis Cricket Association. And CP, maybe you could just tell me your feelings. How does it feel to get the tournament underway? And how was the first round of matches?
Curtis, it was an absolute pleasure. I felt so excited. I felt like a young schoolboy going to my first game. We have been off cricket for such a long time in Nevis that when I announced in the Leeward Islands Cricket Board chat that we were starting our T20 tournament, the entire board sent out congratulations.
Wow.
Because Antigua and Barbuda, they had just met with the cabinet of Antigua and Barbuda and received permission to proceed. And we had beaten everybody in getting our domestic tournament going. And so it is exciting for us, and particularly exciting that we were able to get it going with 9 teams.
Wow. Talk about some of the highlights from last weekend. What are some of the things that stand out? For instance, when I saw Reverend P. Alistair Rollins on the score sheet for Easterns.
With a run-out.
With a run out. I mean, I was wondering if the person fell down, got sick halfway through. You were there, Carla.
Well, I missed the run out because I had another engagement that evening. But he came early and he said to me that, listen, he was waiting for his good pal Murchie. And then he kept inquiring whether or not Easterns had enough men because he said, well, Murchie should get first preference. And then it turned out that he said, well, listen, they needed a 12th man because they didn't quite have enough players. And one of their players would have had to leave at some point during the game. So he said, listen, I'm going to suit up. You know, and to prove that he was suiting up, he took a picture. He said they can't say that he didn't suit up. But then he ended up on the field and ended up with his name. Yeah, he ended up with his name on the score sheet. But that apart, I think the highlights for me last weekend were a number. First of all, the number of young people who are participating in the tournament. And there are two new teams which have just come through, New Vision and Youths of Navis. But all of the teams have a number of young players with them. That was only one of the highlights. The second highlight for me was women.
Okay.
One of the teams, Jets, had on 5 female cricketers. And when I say had 5 female cricketers, I don't mean on the bench. They actually had 5 female cricketers who made it into the final 11 and played and represented themselves well too in that game. And the other highlight for me was the pitch.
Okay.
The pitch is played beautifully.
Yeah.
You know, Micey and his team have been doing a lot of work over there. And the pitch is played beautifully, including the green top. You know, it had a little bit of extra bounce and so on, but not dangerous bounce. So those to me, and Sunday in particular, so additional spectators come out to the games. And so I'm happy for those.
I'm happy you mentioned the green top because I opened for Jets, and when I saw the green top, I was wondering how will this zip off. But even though it was coming off at a pretty good clip, it was even bounce.
Even bounce, and you should have seen it on Saturday.
Okay.
Because they must have wet and rolled between the time I left it on Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
Because it was even greener on Saturday. And we are talking about live grass. So this is good. I like to see the pitches with live grass because it makes a difference. It holds the soil together.
There was a concern. A particular Masters cricketer out of St. Kitts called me with a concern that probably the Nevis Cricket Association has made a mistake. And his query was, how could you have your good cousin, 71-year-old former Premier Van Zamri, possibly facing up against a Keon Pemberton in the same tournament? And I was saying to him, but if I know former Premier Van Zamri well enough, he might scuff Keon Pemberton around a bit. Your thoughts on that concern?
We have not put any restrictions on the tournament. In terms of age, we didn't say that you were too young to participate. We didn't say that you were too old to participate, because we want the senior players to be able to bring on the junior players and to help to teach them not only on the field but off the field, when they're on the bench, when they're practicing and so on. And so former Premier Amri gave a good account of himself. He did not in any way show that he was not capable of playing in the tournament.
And very sharp at first slip.
Absolutely. He got out with a beauty.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the youngster produced a beautiful delivery to get him out. But he gave a good account of himself.
And in terms of this week's fixtures, would you love to update the general public, because more exciting matches in the offing?
Absolutely. And what we have done, Curtis, is that for this T20 tournament, we have opened it so that there is no first division, no second division. We have opened it up. We have allowed 9 teams, and we have said to teams, to clubs, we are only allowing you to put 1 team in the competition. If you have more players, then we would encourage you to let those players play with other clubs. For this weekend's matches, we're talking about the 7th of November. All Stars will be playing their first match for the season, and they will come up against Highlights, who are also playing their first match for the season, and that is going to be at 2 o'clock on Saturday. And we're encouraging all the teams to come early. Then on Sunday, the early game will see Big Rock playing their first game as well coming up against Calypso at 11 o'clock on Sunday. And then Easterns will play Jets, and that game will be at 2 o'clock on Sunday. And so we have those exciting matches. Those matches will be played at the VOJN, and then from next week we will start to feature matches at the ETW Willett Park. And so you will have matches every week at ETW Willett Park and at VOJN. So sometimes on a Saturday we'll have the Saturday game at ETW, and then we'll have the double header at VOJN. And then the next Saturday we flip it around, where you'll have the Saturday game at VOJN, and then you will have the double header on a Sunday at ETW. So those are the two venues that we will be using.
I'm very certain that Mrs. Dorr, Zumba's mom, would be very happy to know that some of the games will be coming to the ETW, because I don't think she'll reach to VOJN, but trust me, she's one of our ardent cricket supporters, long time.
She has been supporting cricket forever, and she's one of the persons who you look forward to seeing at cricket. You know, so we just want people to know that we're looking to shift the cricket around, and slowly we will be incorporating more grounds around Nevis, so that we'll be able to have cricket played, so that spectators can participate. There's a role for spectators in the cricket as well.
As you mentioned, spectators, COVID-19 regulations, Carlisle, how is the association dealing with those?
Well, Jamir Claxton has been an absolute gem to work with. We met with him, officials from the Cricket Association, myself and Secretary Jans. We met with him and his officers at his office, and they gave us what the regulations say in terms of spacing, in terms of hand sanitizers and masks and keeping the list and so on. And we have been trying our very best to ensure that we follow the guidelines. Of course, Jamia has an interest in the tournament, in that the Youths of Nevis is sponsored by the sports department, and they work with that team. And so we're going to make sure that we do everything that the regulations say to comply with the new requirements, because we don't want anything to stop the cricket.
Right. Lighting. VOJN, the light seems to be okay, because when I monitored the game, Empire versus Youths of Nevis, which I considered a bit of an upset. I don't know how you looked at that, Carlisle. I considered that one a bit of an upset, but it was a good upset. Those guys played well to come back into the game.
The Youths of Nevis said that it wasn't an upset.
Oh, was okay.
Said that they plan to beat a lot of teams
big
who are considered big teams. Yeah.
But what was interesting though in that game, the Empire team was laced with a lot of current and past Nevis quality players, and Youths of Nevis just went outside of the box for one little bit to get Akeem Saunders to come over.
Yeah, but Akeem didn't contribute a hell of a lot.
No, he didn't contribute anything.
So you can't say that he influenced the outcome of that game in any big way.
True.
I think the Youths of Nevis just played at a more intense level, and I believe that it is quite possible that the Empire team was a little complacent.
I feel so, because at one point they had the game in the bag. They were above the scoring rate. Kegel and Yadi Jamaica were batting extremely well. And then when that partnership was broken, I mean, the whole thing turned on its head. And this guy, Asim, bowled 2 overs, 4 wickets, 3 runs. Well, I'm not sure he could do that against Jets, though. But, so kind of delighting, though. VOJN seems okay. What about ETW?
We've had some concerns from players about the ETW, and they have said to us that the lighting is not all that good at ETW. So this is something which I am going to bring to the attention of Jamia, and see if we can improve the lighting at ETW, because just in case the 2 o'clock game goes late, you don't want it to be curtailed because of improper lighting. So we want to make sure that at least at that venue and at the VOJN we have proper lighting, so if we run late we can have the games completed.
Looking forward to this weekend, Carlisle. Your final thoughts?
Cricket is back in Nevis, and we want to say thank you to all of the people who have made this happen. Over at the VOJN, the Micey, that is Wendell Wallace, he and his teammates, they have offered and are actually preparing the pitch for us at no cost to the Cricket Association. And we must mention as well that at the ETW Willett Park, that the All Stars Cricket Club, they have offered and will be preparing the pitches for us at no cost to the Cricket Association. So at a time when you have a tournament which is unsponsored, we are so happy that the clubs have chipped in and have said that, listen, we are in this with you. And to the members of management who have been working very well, we have worked well together so far. I want to thank you for your support. And again, cricket is back in Nevis. We have written to all the selectors, we have given them the schedule, we have asked them to attend the matches, and we have also written to the Cricket Umpires Association. We are seeking to meet with them. You know, we started the tournament without the Nevis Cricket Umpires Association because, we wanted to get the cricket going, but it is a long tournament. We're only playing on weekends. The schedule so far just goes up to the week before Christmas. And even so, we are going to have several rounds after that.
Okay.
So we want to get the Nevis Cricket Umpires Association involved so that we can have them formally attached to the schedule and we can move forward with bringing back a sport that has given Nevis so much.
And Carla, I must say also thanks very much, because I do get the summarized scores, the full details in a timely manner.
Yes.
And from a reporter's standpoint, that is crucial.
Yep.
And I must say thanks.
Yes, listen, Charlene Martin is in charge of the scoring. And she has done such a fantastic job. At the end of the match, she promptly sends emails out the schedule, and I share that with people far and wide to let them see that cricket is happening in Nevis, we're not making up scores, and you have the actual scorecard with all the details.
Well, Carla, thank you so much, and we wish the association all the best, and we look forward to some more exciting matches this
My pleasure.
weekend.
Well, just before I conclude, just to remind you that netball action returns to Nevis tomorrow evening at about 6 o'clock at the Brownhill Hard Court. Netball action resumes here on the island. Check it out. That's our package for this evening and indeed for the week. I am Curtis Morton, reminding you that you can watch sports if you're not fit. But to play sports requires fitness, diligence, and sacrifice. Have a good night and a great weekend.